Good morning. Welcome to Abrasive Private Live. I'm MikeZ.
I'm Chris. Hey, does anybody know where I am?
Looks like you're in the Asheville store.
Oh, you're so smart.
So how you doing
Kind
this
of
morning?
all right. It's kind of like that Where's Waldo. You never know where I'm going to be. Usually hiding amongst one of the stores here.
Especially this week. Well, see, last week and this week, you've been all over.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But hey,
Well, I'm in the
we're here.
broadcast studio.
Yeah, this time I was able to make it. So that worked out pretty well.
I'm glad too. Let's see if I switch this around. There we go. I might be a little bit better. That way I can look at you and look at that. So monthly May specials. We got quite a few.
Oh, I like that box blade. That's a good set. Been eyeballing that.
Absolutely. Got a good morning there. Our buddy over at Foxhall Woodworks.
What's up?
Miss Crystal. And that's it so far. All right, so let's talk about these. We have got the box joint cutter set. We've got the tapered plug cutter, and then the Push Pro push stick.
There's some good items there.
There's some good items here. Now let's see, Hank. Yes, the Asheville is open 10 to 4 o'clock Monday through Friday. Go down and bug Chris.
That's right. I'll be here all day.
Ooh, I can tell you what, I'll give you a free hat if you can steal his hat.
Well, it's getting locked in the truck. By giving them a free hat, are you talking about the one they steal from me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I got you. Makes sense.
That's how I get the free hats, how that works.
I'll lock it on my head.
Oh, by the way, if you have an on-location complaint about where Chris is, please call him directly.
Yeah, you can call it today or tomorrow. I will not be there to receive your call.
That's it.
So forward that one digit. Yeah, if you forward that one digit further, you'll be able to reach someone in the office.
There you go. Now, Foxhall, you will be able to get a hat very soon. I'm looking for people to go to our website at woodworkingshop.com, go to the Contact Us part of the page, and send us an email requesting a hat, such as you've seen today on here. The only way we'll get hats is if we show demand.
That's right. Yeah, because we're after match the hat.
Nice.
Yeah. Shameless plug.
Hank says it sounds like a challenge. It is. It is kind of hard to get a hat off Chris's head.
Speaking of plug, isn't that one of those things that we have for sale right now? A plug cutter.
Yeah. A plug cutter.
Yeah.
Yep. The Carry store is not open regular hours. It's open 10 to 4 Monday through Friday and Saturday 10 to 3.
Yeah, and if you've got questions about as those hours change, you can always go to our website, woodworkingshop.com, and you can scroll down and click the link at the bottom with the store locations and information, and that'll open up a new link with just those store pages, and that has all pertinent information regarding each store. You can go down and find the store that you're interested in, and then when their classes and stuff will be back available, those will be seen there, calendar of events, store hours, news that pertains to the stores, just the stores. You can go right there and find that information easily.
Very good. Thank you very much for that. JP Brown on it as always. Let's see here. Oh, okay. So let's talk about what we got. The box joint cutter set, 5/8 arbor, 8-inch diameter. Simple, really, it's a simple way to put together boxes. If you want to make fast boxes on dado, 10-inch table saw is a great way to do it.
Yeah, the common box joints are usually 1/4 inch, sometimes 3/8 on most projects, and that's a perfect blade because you can put the two together one way and it'll give you dead on 1/4 inch. You flip it or you flip them the opposite direction and it will give you 3/8. Very cool setup. Plus you get a dead on flat cut, so you don't get the little dog ears like you do with a traditional dado.
Yep, it's gonna be nice and flat. So link at the bottom. Okay, so we're up somewhere here. It's hard to do.
Couldn't be a
What our day
weatherman.
consists of. All right, let's talk about the snappies.
Well, but before we go into that, I do want to make a comment because we get a lot of questions about dados and why we don't offer a 10-inch dado. So I figure this would be a good time to talk about that too, because really when you're dealing with a box joint or something like that, a dado, you don't need the full diameter because you're not cutting very deep. Usually you're cutting, the thickness of your material, which is usually 3/4 or 1/2 inch. So you don't need that full 3-inch capacity that a 10-inch blade will get you. So usually on dados and a blade like this, 6 or 8 inches is more than sufficient.
Do they make
Just
a
as
10-inch dado for 12-inch saws?
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, just side note, I've gotten 3 or 4 questions like that in the last couple of months.
Thank you, Hank.
Yep.
Oh,
So anyway,
I know someone in particular is going to be really upset with me later. Melanie's going to get all these emails and not know what to do with them. She's going to call Coleman. I can see it. I can see it happening. Ah.
that's great.
Oh, there's one. Dogwood on a dado, says the guy without a saw capable of running a dado stack. Carl, you talking about you?
What typically happens even on some of your dados is because your outer blades will angle one direction on one blade and the other direction on the other. Sometimes you can get these slight little dog ears. They're very hardly noticeable, but if you put something square in there, like your piece that's actually going to go into the dado, and you look at it carefully, sometimes you can get little bitty dog ears. You really get them with traditional blades, unless you're using, the Freud ripping blade that has a true flat raker. You'll get those little areas where the ATB tooth configuration, it goes up just slightly higher than that flat raker that comes in and cleans it up. So you wind up with little bitty corners.
Yeah, and as a kid, because I was in the shop at an early age, I used to call them the bat ears because they look like Batman to me when you flip it upside down.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about this. This is the Make It Snappy plug cutter set. It's a tapered plug cutter set, which means that your plugs are going to be tapered, rounded off, so they're easier to put into the hole that they need to plug and then hammer in.
Yeah, you get a better wedge fit with those tapered plugs versus a traditional straight dowel, or trying to use that dowel rod that you cut the length. You just you do get a better fit.
Yeah. Okay, so that makes more sense here. There you go. You had never heard of that with dados.
Some dados you'll get it, yeah, but most of them nowadays have good flat rakers. But just keep check on those outside cutters, and sometimes you'll have that.
I agree and I disagree. I think there needs to be a flat top that comes behind the ATV, and then we don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, you want those angled cutter heads, because that's what kind of gives you a nice sharp cut, and then your flat chippers that are in between those cutters um, come in and clean out the bulk of the material. But there should be a good true flat raker, the same height as your angled tooth as well. That would help.
That's a good question, and I don't know that they do. Does Snappy make a deep plug cutter like Montana does? I don't think they do.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. We don't offer it, but that does not mean they don't make it. We'll have to look into that.
Thanks, Hank. We will look into that.
Yeah.
And then, random customer. And so.
It's called a cameo.
Yes, Chris gets it. You get it, Chris. Oh,
Well, depends on what it is. Some things enough. I don't want.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this sweet Pro push stick. So typically, it's one of the very first things that you do when you get into woodworking is you make yourself your own push stick. Sometimes you just want one that's got a much more flexible head on it. So,
And that's a nice ergonomical handle too, so it's very safe if you are trying to push things through. That handle, that gentle curve at the end, does give you a nice ability to keep everything stable and safe.
yeah.
And with the replaceable piece, it works out pretty good. And I have also seen people use these as extensions to hold down things at their miter station as well.
Oh, that would be a good idea. Bo's
Yeah,
coming out with some pretty innovative products for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a comment here. He's probably going to order that plug cutter set with some sandpaper. Thank you, sir.
And most of the snappy tools, if I'm not mistaken, that particular item is made in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
Please confirm that, but I believe that one is made in the U.S. I've got their set of pilot drills, counterbore pilot drills, and it's a pretty good set. I like it.
Yeah. Here you go. Ed's still in the Asheville store.
Ed is still here. Let's see. Hank Merkel. Hey, Ed, Hank Merkel said, hey. If he didn't hear me, I'm surprised.
Well, he is a woodworker, so 50-50.
Well, and he's also talking to a customer, so I don't know. Sometimes we tune everything else out.
Oh, what's the end of the push stick made of for that Bo product?
It's like a firm rubbery material.
Yeah, like a foam rubber in a way.
Yeah.
Firm,
and
very firm.
It's replaceable.
That's why
unlike your fingers. Well, I guess technically they're replaceable too, but we prefer not to.
Looks good, but I love my micro jig gripper so much better. Ah, there you go. Gripper versus a push stick. What do you think?
Tough call. I'm a micro jig gripper guy myself, but there are occasions where that micro jig scenarios where I could see a longer push stick would be a benefit. Plus the push stick, like I said, it's a little more versatile. It allows you to get in and use it for other applications other than just a push stick, holding down parts when you're up next to a table saw. If you're doing cross cutting on the table saw on a sled or something, using that same thing to kind of hold drill parts that are close to the blade. Just that little bird's mouth end, it does give you a nice ability to hold parts down when you don't want to put your fingers near there.
No,
it beats a pencil eraser that I've used for years.
You're not the only one. Looking at getting a saw, huh? Table saw. Hey.
So what you need is a new table saw.
That's it. Now, did Ed ever say anything back?
No.
Okay.
So either he didn't like him or he didn't hear me. We're going to go with he didn't hear me.
Yeah, we're going to go with he didn't hear you.
Yeah.
All right. So, for those of us without a bandsaw, I guess the thin kerf blade is the best way to liberate the plugs on the flush cut saw.
Yeah, the table saw works well. If you do, what I would encourage you to do is take a piece of tape and tape across the plugs that you've cut. That way, when they are cut away, they'll stay together and not get caught into the blade or, get slung across. So by putting a piece of painter's tape across them after you cut them, they'll all stay on one sheet, and it makes them a lot easier to use and take over to your project. But table saw works good. There's other methods you could rig something up with a miter saw, but a table saw would be much safer. And you have to keep that in mind when you're making those, so your piece isn't too wide. You want to make sure you're safe, and you can use the push stick to push things through, so that way you are safe. Aha.
Yeah, there you go. Actually, JP, I'll look that up while you take a look at this. Tape is a great tip.
Yep, I use tape for a lot more things than most people do. Matter of fact, I use our clean spore painter's tape and CA glue to hold a lot of my parts down to my CNC. and a lot of my jigs that I'm going to be routing templates with. I use that instead of regular double-sided tape. I found it gives a little better hold, and it's much easier to come off.
There you go. Yeah, the double-sided tape is a dream. As I look these things up here, it's a little hard to get to. Hello, customer.
Oh, it's constant flowing around here, man.
I would say.
Little did I know more people come in the back door than the front. So, oh well, that's what I get for stationing here.
Now for you, Tim, on this one, what I found is a 5-in-1 tool does seem to work a little bit better than a sort of screwdriver, because it has that slightly chiseled edge on the 5-in-1. You can actually hit it like a chisel without actually gouging into the wood.
Yeah.
So if that's helpful for you.
Well, and also you can take that and get it into that groove easy and just kind of give it a little twist. And sometimes the pointed end of that 5-in-1 tool will get in there and pry it right up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just found that little point is just right.
Yep.
P-Flux 3. All right, so JP, we don't carry it, but we can order it, and it'd be drop shipped from the from Laguna anyway. So however you want to do that's fine. Oh, there you go. Is it feasible to use a Festool ETS 125 at the lowest speed to finish sand with 1500 grit sandpaper?
It depends.
Yeah. All right, so most of the time you actually want to speed it up a little bit. If it's like a film bag product, if you're using water and it starts to bite, then you want to slow it down.
Yeah.
But it all depends on how the sander's operating. You want the sander to be optimal. You know, you don't want it to be under load while it's operating. So if you notice that your sander's going under load when you have it down low, crank it up.
Yeah. So there's no yes or no. There's maybe.
Yeah, it's all kind of dependent on what material you're using, what you're sanding it with. There's a lot of variables there. But for the most part, just listen to the sander. It'll tell you 1500 grit, you shouldn't be bogging down a sander. Something's going wrong.
And no matter what you do, it better be very light pressure at that grit.
Yeah. Yep. Man, a lot of comments today, huh?
Yeah. Hey, who knew?
We've been busy.
Welcome to Monday.
Sanding. Not necessarily. On hand sanding, if you're doing it with a flat sheet and a block, you're going to be so you're going to be pressing that grain directly into the substrate more aggressively. If you're using foam, there's a bit of that cushion, so therefore the grit's not pushing down as hard. In all actuality, I probably use hand sanding in the fine grit 6, 8,000, 1,500, but it has to be with a rubber block and very, very, very light pressure. Then I'll switch it over to the foam to kind of give me a much more cushioned, soft scratch. Therefore, when I go to polish with a compound, it's a lot easier than trying to get rid of the deep gouges created by direct block and sandpaper. What you got?
Yep, I'm with you on that.
Okay.
And it depends if you're going to put an oil finish at that stage. I might even switch to a either the film or the even better the silicon carbide, and use the oil as a burnished lubricant to burnish the oil into the wood fibers.
That's a good idea. Very good idea. You can do a lot with oil finishes. It's funny. But okay. Yep. So we've done pretty good today. I think we've gone through all our specials. Do you want to take a quick store tour while we're 20 minutes in?
Sure.
Let's break in.
So you can see back through here, you have their finishing aisle, and this is the back door. So this is the door that some customers would come in because they have front and back parking, a lot more parking in the back. So a lot of customers will pull around back and then come in. So this is what you'd see when you come in. You have your finishing aisle right in front of you. They have some floor sanding here, which is very nice. So sometimes it's kind of hidden in the alcove, so we did make them a sign, which has turned out pretty well. Let's see what we've got here. Down this aisle, there's a variety of hardware, things like that. I'll do a quick pan over here so you can see the lumber. This is their lumber wall. And come on down, a lot of their turning blanks. and turning supplies, turning tools, pin kits for pin making. Let's move on down. Oh, I'm sorry. And I'm all up in the way of customers, so they're going to beat me with a board. It's going to turn into an episode of Three Stooges before long. Some more of their hand tools, things like that, different measuring devices, more hand tools behind the glass case there. So we got a lot going on this morning. They're quite busy. Next aisle down, so we got some dust collection, some of the fine multi-master stuff. And here's a view of the wood from the other end. Some hand carving things, chisels, a lot of the blocks and stuff that go along with that. Sanding supplies. And here's more of the world famous bargain box. And I'll give you a quick sneak peek of their back warehouse. Very cool. This is something you don't see often. That's actually Jack working. If you can believe it, Jack is working. And I'll go on before I get the evil stare any further. So we'll walk on up. I'll give you a quick view. Sanding supplies along the whole outside wall. Got a lot of clamps. Craig, and then we get into the machinery section, which is a lot of people's favorite area. Got their full library over here. Got the little Festool area. And then we've migrated to the front of the store up here. And you can see some of the different machinery. Here they have their saw stops out on display. Some of the accessories that go along with the saw stop. You might recognize this from a recently mentioned video or email. Get that back on the shelf. So anyway, here we are. We're at the front of the store. Up here, they have a lot of their bits and blades. Freud, the Klingspor, Yamana. And that's it. That's a quick shop tour. They've got some blades behind the wall, a lot of their bandsaw blades and whatnot. So anyway, there we are. The Asheville store.
Well, very good. Thank you for that. That was a entertaining walkthrough. I didn't see the bathrooms though. Are there bathrooms available at the facility?
They are pay for play only.
Oh, okay.
So you have to pay at the counter, and then they give you the secret code to get through the door, and it changes daily. No,
Gotcha.
not really. Hang on. Oh.
And it's North Carolina, so it's whatever.
Yeah. Just remember, cover your cough.
What's Hank got? Hank's got, does Festool require or request you have X amount of floor space dedicated, or is it up to the retailer?
It's generally up to the retailer, I imagine. I mean, I'm sure the more you have, the happier they are.
Mm-hmm.
But, we do try to have a very nice assortment of Festool products, just simply because, they're a really good brand. And it's the same way with Jet and Powermatic. We try to have, a good array of displays on display that you can come in and see. But yeah, the Festool varies.
Yeah, so each store's got its own separate amount. But you actually were here in the Hickory store when Festool first came in, right?
I was, yeah.
So how big was that section?
We started out with like two little displays, two widths, and just a few small machines. And so the main thing was the sander, and then it grew from there quickly.
Well, Hank's got a good point here. He just wishes they had a training area at the Asheville store. Don't we all, Hank? Don't we all?
Yeah, we're all pushing each store to have a nice classroom / training area. Yeah, so it's tough because, I mean.
So here's how we take care of that, is that we ask everyone to visit woodworkingshop.com/contact us and send an email requesting that we have training areas in the Hickory store, the Winston store, and the Asheville store, as well as hats and what Chris is wearing, a shirt. This will all help out our cause, as Chris and I are both on, trying to push these things every day. And so your support would help us tremendously have a show of numbers.
Because we're not fighting for us. We're fighting for you. We are on your side.
We totally are. We've been in those shoes of being woodworkers, having to shop, going to work every day, and then needing the supplies. And then there's times where it's like you walk into a store and you're like, yeah, it would be great if they had a training area. So then when you work at a place that has that ability, you want to push it even harder.
Yeah. Now the Cary location has a really nice classroom, and it normally is active. And if you come into most of the stores do have demo models of some of the Festool products. Not every tool is demo, but they do have some demo tools of the products. Saw stop, there's generally one working saw stop in the building. So whether it's the small job site or the pro or the professional or the industrial, there's usually a machine that's working. So don't always stop and use them, but there's generally one available.
Yeah.
The problem is I've been to the actual store when they do an event, a class or something, and they clear out an entire aisle. They move it completely to another part of the store to make room for that event. So a nice classroom would certainly be an advantage.
And I mean, yeah, there's floor space and the cost and all that stuff, but it's more of just having the ability to further the craft, further our knowledge of what we know to other people. So, yeah,
help you.
Yeah, and Cary's classroom is nice. I think that was the very first one in a long time that they finally dedicated a space for it, and it's shown to really work out really well. Because at any point, if you have a question on a machine, you can walk into the classroom. Like if it's during the week, they don't have class. You can walk into the classroom and find out how to use a tool right there, hands on. That's what we're pushing for.
Yeah, and thankfully we're all woodworkers at all these stores. So if you've got questions about how the machines operate, they can more than answer the questions and kind of give you everything you need to know, with the exception of turning the machine on sometimes, which is important because sometimes it's, well, how do you make it do this or how do you make it do that? They can give you that information and kind of go from there. So at least you can get everything but the final point.
And if they don't know the answer to it, by all means, they can call the on location complaint department hotline, and you can find out the answer that way if you'd like as well.
Yeah, and remember, the on location is on location, so that hotline will not be able to be responded to probably until Wednesday.
It's all right. They'd be okay.
Yeah.
You'll feel important with that blinking red light when you get back.
Interestingly enough, though, that CNC hotline is the same exact extension. I don't understand how that works.
So, Carl, when Izzy came to the Hickory store, we have our warehouse is the Hickory store. And so where the receiving is done for the semi trucks, we basically clear out all of that receiving area and we set up classes here in Hickory. So it'd just be nice to have a dedicated spot to where the chairs are set up, the machines are set up. We don't have to tear down and set up every single time there's going to be something. That's really kind of the problem we're facing at Hickory, is that it's a lot of time to set up and then tear down for a class or for an event here.
Yeah, and in that case, if you've got late deliveries coming in, after 4, that does create a lot of problems setting up for a 6 o'clock class.
Yeah,
making room for all that.
It's always fun when the guy shows up and he's like, "I'm sorry, I got lost." 21st Street Drive. I don't blame you, buddy. It's hard.
Southeast Place Boulevard Court.
Get lost Hickory style. Yeah. All right, well, had a lot of fun today. This has been a good one. So don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. Check us out on Facebook. Check us out on Instagram. I'm going through it fast, so I'll go one more time.
And email our customer support and technical question line.
Yep, always woodworkingshop.com, and give us a little support. Just a little support.
I guess it's about time for me to turn it this way. I've got to get to work here in just a second.
Yeah, there you go. Turn mine the other way, but then it just looks funny. Yours doesn't, though. I had mine backwards all weekend, and my stepdaughter told me that I have a sunburn the size of an unhappy face on my forehead. So it's gonna stay like this.
We should have taken a Q-tip and put 2 little dots of
Oh Lord.
sunscreen right there.
There you go. If I had known I was gonna be in the sun that long, yeah. All right. Well, I'm Mike Z.
I'm Chris. On
Thank you very
location.
much. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you guys have a great day.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Ooh, happy belated Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.
Yeah, that too.
Don't worry, Father's Day is right around the corner in June.